I'm Ira Maurer, founder of the Maurer Law Firm located in Fishkill, New York. Welcome to our website. At the Maurer Law Firm, we represent clients located in the northeast part of the U.S. who have become victims of a serious injury. It has always been my belief that every client deserves to be thoroughly educated about their injuries and the legal process. This video is intended to provide some helpful information about hip injuries. All joint injuries are painful and limit your mobility. Hip injuries can prevent you from sitting, standing, or walking, or even sleeping comfortably. Before I discuss specific types of hip injuries, it would be helpful to first provide you with a description of some of the basic components of the hip. The hip joint is medically termed the acetabulum, a ball and socket joint cushioned by cartilage and held together by muscles and ligaments that move the leg in multiple directions. Walking, bending, crouching, and climbing stairs are typical activities that require hip joint movements. These muscle groups help stabilize the hip joint as the leg moves. The hip joint is lined with a piece of cartilage called the labrum, which forms a cup-like ring within the hip joint socket. The labrum is the seal that glues the ball, known as the femoral head, to the socket. The labrum helps the thigh bone or femur sit properly in the socket, making the hip more stable. The hip joint is surrounded by muscles, ligaments, and tendons that also stabilize the femur in the hip socket. The ligaments of the hip attach one bone to another and are essential for stabilizing the complex movements of the hip. Hip ligaments deal with very large forces and are very tough and strong. The iliotibial tract, or ITB, is a long, thick tendon that runs from the pelvis down to the knee. Several hip muscles are connected to the ITB, which provides essential stabilization while walking and running. There are 4 groups of muscles in the hip that are responsible for moving the leg in several directions: the iliopsoas muscles, the hamstring muscles, the adductor muscles, and the gluteus muscles. A bursa is a flat fluid-filled sac that functions as a cushion between your bones and the muscles or bones and tendons to reduce friction and allow your soft tissue to slide over bone effortlessly during muscle contraction. Now that you have a basic understanding of the components of the hip, I will discuss a number of different types of hip injuries. When the labrum tears, the ball and socket may dislodge, causing instability and loss of lubrication. Symptoms of a labral tear include sharp pain in the groin, thigh, or leg, stiffness, popping, and decrease in range of motion. Labral tears may be treated through arthroscopic surgery or other minimally invasive procedures. A hip fracture is a break in the upper portion of the femur bone. Most hip fractures occur in elderly patients whose bones have become weakened or brittle by osteoporosis. Each year, more than 300,000 people in the United States will suffer a hip fracture. Most of these fractures occur in patients 65 years or older who are injured due to a fall. When a hip fracture occurs in a younger patient, it is typically the result of a high-energy event, such as a fall from a ladder or a vehicle collision. Surgery is usually the best treatment for a hip fracture because hip fractures can be very painful. Prompt surgical treatment is usually recommended. One type of hip surgery involves stabilizing broken bones with surgical screws, nails, rods, or plates, or any combination of them. This type of surgery is for patients who have fractures in which the bones can be properly aligned. This is also called hip pinning. Partial hip replacement surgery involves replacement of the ball of the hip joint with artificial parts made of ceramic or metal. This method does not replace the hip socket. With total hip replacement surgery, all parts of the hip joint are replaced with artificial parts made of metal, ceramic, or plastic. Treating the fracture and getting the patient out of bed as soon as possible helps to prevent medical complications such as bed sores, blood clots, and pneumonia. In very old patients, prolonged bed rest can also lead to disorientation, which makes rehabilitation and recovery much more difficult. I hope you found this video helpful. For more information, please contact the Maurer Law Firm by calling 845-896-5655 888-288-5295 or visit our website at maurerlaw.net. At the Maurer Law Firm, we take your personal injuries and the impact they have on you and your families personally.